Hello, everyone, and welcome to Recurrent with Todd Evans. It's been a little while, as you can see. I'm in my new surroundings in Pennsylvania, and it's been very busy with the moving and all of that stuff. But I wanted to check in with some discussion about kind of relating to a couple of shows that a couple of my good friends have put out. One of them, first off, was from Tom Curlis of Curlis Mania, and his show was called "These Records Were Disappointing" with an exclamation mark. And then, kind of a follow up show to that by Bicycle Legs Talks Music that was called Conversations, a response to Curlis Mania, six disappointing albums. I think in both of those shows, they they picked six albums. Mine is a little different. I just kind of jotted down all the ones I can think of, and I'm going to present all of them. I've got 22, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of speed through these. I'll link to Tom and Bicycle Leg shows below so that you can kind of compare. And see what they had to say. But I'm going to start with ABC. A lot of people, no, not very many people talk about ABC on YouTube or in discussion channels or anything like that. But I have a couple of times, and I wanted to say that the most disappointed I ever was in an ABC album was the album Skyscraping in 1997. This album was the first album that was made without Mark White, Martin Fry's compatriot, who the two of them were very instrumental in making all of the previous ABC albums. This one was made with Glenn Gregory of Heaven 17, and I have been trying for many, many, many years to try to make this into an ABC album, and it's just not one. It's just, and you'd think that having Martin Fry's voice and some tuned percussion would make it sound like ABC, but it doesn't. So always been disappointed in this record. Uh, Martin got better as the years went on in trying to make ABC sound like ABC, which some people like that, some people don't when artists do that. But he was much more successful later on in his career. But I've always thought Skyscraping from 1997 was not very good at all. Next, I'm going to go to Adamant. And when I was in high school, this was my most hated album. And I was very disappointed with this album. Viva la Rock. Vive la Rock. I'm not really even sure how to say it. It's a dumb title. It came out in 1985. Produced by Tony Visconti, who, again, Tony Visconti's produced some really classic records, but every once in a while he works with an artist that I don't think that he should work with, and Adamant was one of them. I feel the same way about Tony Visconti's production of the Moody Blues. I don't think it's right for them, even though it was super successful. So what do I know? But Adamant was coming out of uh, uh, Strip from a previous year, and which I like. A couple of songs produced by Phil Collins. Lots of his personality coming through on those songs, even the non Phil Collins songs, which I think are produced by Richard James Burgess. I didn't look that up, but Viva La Rock is just oh my goodness. Not a melody to speak of, just a lot of noise. And Adamant's a noisy artist, and there are some people that I know that are friends of mine that can't really tolerate Adamant because there's a lot. It just sounds like a lot of racket to them, and I understand that. But Viva La Rock is just completely devoid of melody. I mean, there are no memorable songs there, and I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think if there's anybody who's familiar with that album. The next one I'm going to go to is the B-52's Good Stuff, 1992. Their manager said, hurry up and follow up Cosmic Thing, and that was a mistake. Cindy Wilson was on hiatus. The album really misses her. You would think that Fred and Kate would be able to do that. And for the most part, to make up for the absence of Cindy. But for the most part, they do. But there's just something about it. The comedic parts seem to fall flat. They're not as funny as they should be. Too many extra people on it. So it doesn't have a consistent sound from track to track. I have never liked good stuff. I've warmed up to it a little bit more as I've gotten older, but not a fan of good stuff. I should tell you that these are all artists that I love, so don't be thinking that this is going to be like a big hate fest. Uh, Next, I'm going to go. This is kind of redundant. People pick this one a lot. Blondie the Hunter, 1982. There are some things that I think about the predecessor, Auto American. There are some things that I love about that album, and there are some things that I don't like about that album. And I don't think that album is very consistent when you think that it follows, you know, parallel lines and Eat to the Beat. So I kind of think the problems kind of started with Auto American, even though I love some of the more ambitious parts of it. But The Hunter is just awful. It's just a band that is falling apart, and you can tell, and it's sad, and it made me sad at the time. The next one's kind of obscure. If anybody's familiar with the North Carolina band, the Connells, they're one of my favorite uh, bands from the South. And they had an album called Ring that was their most successful album. But I actually like the albums that precede Ring the most. But in 1996, they put out an album called Weird Food and Devastation. Uh, Terrible title, and completely just muddy production, not very consistent with the songwriting. Just a really disappointing record, and I don't think they ever recovered until maybe Stedman's Wake, the album they put out 3 or 4 years ago, is obviously better. But the album that came out after Weird Food and Devastation, Still Life, is even worse. Just they were such a tight band. And they devolved into this murky, almost grungy kind of sloppy band, and I'll never understand why they did that. But so that was Connell's Weird Food and Devastation, not recommended. This one right here is kind of the granddaddy of all disappointing records. That's Ooh Yeah by Daryl Hall and John Oates. Gosh, what can I say? What can I say about Ooh Yeah? Everything that you don't like, that most people don't like about things, the way music sounded in 1988, is you're buried with it in this record. And when you consider that it came quite a few years after, I think it's 4 years after Big Bang Boom, which is a noisy record that a lot of people think is kind of an annoying record, but the songs were there. And this one, the songs are not there. Downtown Life, Everything Your Heart Desires is okay. Missed Opportunity is okay, but Rocket to God, Soul Love, Real Love, Keep on Pushing Love. Oh my God, they can't even come up with titles at this point. A really sad story that this happened. And uh, I'll try and try and try and never like it. The next one I've got is an album that I sort of actually like, but when it came out, I really thought that it should have been better. This is Train of Thought by Dream Theater. Hopefully nobody gets too angry at me for including this one. When this album came out, I was really upset that it's so heavy that Jordan Rudess is kind of covered up. I think luckily the last track, In the Name of God, saves it, which because I think that track is pretty great. But there's just some stuff on here. The ballad is a song called Vacant, 2 minutes and 58 seconds. It kind of feels like they're saying, "Oh, you like ballads? Here's your ballad, you wuss." Um, it doesn't feel like their heart's in it, and so I don't understand. I keep putting this in the wrong place. I don't understand why this album is so revered. I think it's kind of a misstep between what came before it and what came after it. Okay, so let me know what you think in the comments. You are likely to not like that opinion. The next one is I wish I had a cover of this to show you. Elvis Costello's Kojak Variety, 1995, a collection of songs that were his favorite songs from other artists. That should have been okay, but I think the mistake he made was he tried consciously to make it songs that most people haven't heard or that are more obscure, and I just don't think he picked very good songs. I mean, this album came after Brutal Youth, which I think is just a fantastic album, and I was very disappointed in Kojak Variety. And I keep saying that I'm gonna try it again, but every time I try it again, I don't get, two or three songs into it where I was like, nope, I'm good. The next one, this one really surprised me when it came out, 1999. Everything But the Girl, Temperamental, and the album before that, Walking Wounded, was a drum and bass experiment. And the great thing about that album was that it actually took their usual songcraft and put it into a drum and bass format. And so it brings the songs. And Temperamental, I don't know what, there's probably a specific genre of dance music that it is supposed to be emulating. I didn't do any research about this particular album, but it just sounds like it just doesn't have that charm. There was a song on Walking Wounded called "The Heart Remains a Child." It's one of my favorite songs of all time. A beautiful lyric, very very touching. There's no song like that on Temperamental, and so it's not their fault, but I always kind of held that against them. So, and we waited a long, 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 long time for them to do something else, and too long. Next one, Fleetwood Mac, Behind the Mask. This is funny because being a Lindsey Buckingham stan, uh, I never thought that the album that they tried to do without him was going to be as good. But when the Greatest Hits album came out, and As Long as You Follow came out, and it had that bridge, that absolutely gorgeous bridge, song written by Christine McVie, that bridge followed by that Rick Vito guitar solo, elegant, almost kind of a tribute to a Lindsey solo. And when I heard that, I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. Lindsey, it really might get replaced. And then this came out. And I was like, oh, never mind. Just, very average AOR rock with Stevie and Christine's vocals, which of course, it's kind of like a Stevie Nicks album. It's like pizza, and when it's bad, it's good, and it's okay. So yeah, just my opinion, but not a big fan of Behind the Mask. I should probably pick this up because we got a lot more to get to. This one right here, this one I can pretty easily say that there is way too little discussion about this band. They've been kind of in the news lately because they're doing a tour, and Emily Saliers is dealing with some health issues, and they were refreshingly candid and honest about that. And so a lot of people saying a lot of good things about this band, and for good reason. But this album right here, Come On Now Social, when is this? 1999. I've got a couple on this list from 1999. I don't think that was a very good year. There are a couple of songs on this album that I like. Cold Beer and Remote Control, I really like the ninth track. But I kind of felt like with Shaming of the Sun, the album before this one, and this one, that Indigo Girls were kind of in a rut. They were insanely popular, and I kind of feel like they weren't delivering on those two albums. And they came back with Become You and All That We Let In, which I think are two of their best albums. So it was short-lived, but this album right here, I really don't care for. There's a song on here called Faye Tucker, which I think is 12 minutes long. It's about Faye Tucker, a woman who was got the death penalty for being involved in a murder. She wasn't the actual person who committed the murder, but she repented and found religion, and she was executed anyway. Tragic story, fantastic topic for a song, but this 12-minute song called Faye Tucker, I really don't like it. It just comes across as pretentious, and they hardly ever did that. So luckily that was, I think, the last time. Interpol, Marauder. Oh my goodness. This Interpol is the first of two artists that I'm going to talk about that I feel like have really lost their muse. They're about to put out a new record, and YouTube videos from live performances where they've been teasing some of the songs have been promising. So I've got my fingers crossed for Interpol that they're going to put a record out that I where I really like the songs. Marauder was not that record. I think that the one before it, El Pintor, was probably their last good record. Marauder. The thing that bothers me the most about Marauder is that Interpol, they've got their rhythm section, especially their the drummer. They've got this really tight sound. It's almost like a thump 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 disco sound, and I uh, Marauder is just sloppy. It just sounds like them just thrashing around. And Sam Fogarino, I may be saying that wrong. Sorry, I was trying to think of the drummer's name. I wanted to say it because I'm a fan of his. But yeah, I don't know what happened on Marauder, but it's just kind of this sloppy mess. And you expect that sometimes with indie rock bands, but not Interpol. Interpol's better than that. And so that one was really disappointing for me. The one after it, Make Believe, I don't even remember the whole title. Another disappointing record. So I've really got high hopes for them. I hope they come through. Uh, John Wetton, Raised in Captivity, 2011. Oh my goodness. What do you say about this? John Wetton has some fantastic solo albums. I wrote a couple down here so I wouldn't forget. Battle Lines, also known as Voicemail, Rock of Faith, just beautiful, beautiful songs, great production. John Wetton's Raised in Captivity is produced by Billy Sherwood, which, I like Billy Sherwood. He's a good guy. He's a great musician, but not a good producer. And he's going to come up again in my list. And I just really feel like Raised in Captivity just isn't it. And sadly, it was John's last solo record, and he's usually so much better than that. I think a lot of people were giving this record, I don't remember reading very many reviews of it, but most people's opinions who are John Wetton fans are not as harsh as mine. I really don't like Raised in Captivity. Okay, next, Kansas, Somewhere Else, where the big return of Kerry Livgren to Kansas. I think this is the most disappointing album in the Kansas lineup. I think in the Spirit of Things is better, which is another album that a lot of people don't like. I just don't like this record at all. I have always been I've always had a thing for this record because they've got a couple of songs that have really gimmicky titles, and I really hate them, and it just grates on me, and I've just never been able to forgive them. A Robbie Steinhardt song called Grand Finale. Grand Fun Alley. That's terrible. Another song by Steve Walsh called Not Man Big, which I think is really stupid. I just really don't like Somewhere to Elsewhere. I'm sorry. I should. But man, so many great records. I mean, Power and Freaks of Nature, so many great late period or mid to late period Kansas records. And really the only one I don't like is Somewhere to Elsewhere. Um, the next one, this is the next artist who has lost his muse. We want good things for this person. This is Matthew Sweet, suffered a stroke a couple of years ago. I have not heard a progress report from his camp lately, but I heard some promising things months ago. I'm hoping that he's recovered enough to pick up the guitar and write some songs and put on a record. I would love that. I'm very loyal to Matthew Sweet. I've bought all of his albums, but I don't think I've liked one since the Fan Club album Kimigasuki and the two new songs on the greatest hits after that. So what I'm going to talk about here is Living Things from 2004. Living Things is not without any good songs. It's just not up to his standard, and unfortunately, I don't think that he ever recovers. Um, I hate saying that. It's self-produced. He probably shouldn't self-produce. Um, but it started on Living Things, and it kind of, this is just the genesis of it. It doesn't really get bad until after that, but he starts. It's almost as if he's forgotten how to craft songs in the studio. He sort of his layered vocals, where he layers the vocals and changes the pitch of his voice to make all these crazy harmonies that sound beautiful and wonderful. Um, all the albums from Living Things on, he gets a little worse at that every album, and every album sounds sloppier, and every album is slower, and it's just I don't know, which is really interesting for a guy who, if, when you see him play, when he plays live, he plays too fast. So he can't seem to find that energy when he gets in the studio. But poor Matthew Sweet. Not poor Matthew Sweet because of the situation he's in now, but poor Matthew Sweet as in I really thought that he lost his mojo. I know that his health is improving, and I really have high hopes for him. But I kind of feel like the wheels came off right around Living Things in 2004. New Order Republic, 1993. Uh, you know, this is one of those situations where there's so many things that are right about this album. First of all, the artwork. I absolutely love it. It's all these kind of unrelated images that are real colorful and inspiring, and I just really love that. I think it's a great cover. I like the way that there's a little trademark uh, uh, symbol by the title. It's supposed to look like a product, and I think when I saw this record, I thought, oh my God, this is going to be great. I'm going to love this. Unfortunately, it doesn't have. I mean, it's got Regret, which I think is probably one of their best songs, if not their best song. But it's got it doesn't have that every other song where you got Stephen Morris playing the acoustic drums, and then the next song will be, electronic drums, and then the next song will be Stephen Morris again. It doesn't have that back and forth, back and forth. It's just kind of all electronic after you get past Regret. And I just think that's a shame. This album just doesn't resonate for me. Um, Produced by Stephen Hague, who usually when he produces something, I like it. But I don't like it when he produces New Order. I didn't like True Faith either. I felt like it didn't sound like New Order. Stephen Hague does fantastic work with other artists, especially Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, but uh, not with New Order. Not for me. Pet Shop Boys Electric. Pet Shop Boys Electric is the first of three albums that they decided that they were going to do with producer Stuart Price. I don't know a lot about Stuart Price, but I don't think he's a very good producer. This is a very contrarian, if I may use that word, opinion about the Pet Shop Boys discography. But I think that the album before Electric, Elysium, I think it's 2011. Electric is 2013. I think Elysium is their best album. They were starting to get older and grayer and starting to talk about getting older and having songs that had really mature uh, content in the lyrics, and I was really loving where they were going. Humor, more humor than they used to have, and I was really loving that. And Electric comes along, and it's just kind of it's just club music. I mean, they're great at club music, but Electric just the best thing on Electric is a Springsteen cover is probably the best thing on there. Um, but the next album, Super, also produced by Stuart Price, better but also not great. The album after that, Hotspot, also not great. So I don't like the Stuart Price era of Pet Shop Boys. Um, this is one that nobody ever talks about, and I'll probably say something controversial here because I have a very strong opinion on this particular band that this person comes from. Roger Hodgson's second solo album, High High, from 1987, comes after In the Eye of the Storm, which is a great album, I think. High High is not a great album. Um, 10 songs, very much a pop album. Not that that's a problem, but it's not a very good pop album. It looks like a middle of the road. It's got his face on the cover. Uh, it just the guy who made such a big deal about breaking away from Supertramp so that he could have all the direction. Uh, and then his follow up to a really great debut was High High. Disappeared without a trace. There's no for good reason. I think I've made no mistake, and I've never tried to hide the fact that I'm on Team Rick Davies when it comes to Supertramp. I feel like of all the amazing contributions that Roger Hodgson made to that band when they got towards the end, when they got towards Famous Last Words, I really felt like it was Davies Hodgson, Davies Hodgson, Davies Hodgson, and I just kind of I felt like side two of Famous Last Words. When you look at the Davies output and the Hodgson output, the Davies output just kind of stomps on it, and I'm very much a fan of the post Hodgson era of Supertramp. So, that being said, that was really the last this person ever really heard of Roger Hodgson was his 1987 album, Hi Hi. Um, the next one, everybody, I almost left this one off because people talk about this one, and no, it's not as bad as people say it is. But Test for Echo, the problem with Test for Echo is it's not the artwork, it's not the song titles, it's just that it sounds uninspired. It's great playing on it. The title track is great. Driven is really great. Time and Motion is great. Limbo, the instrumental is great. I mean, there are a lot of really good things on here. Resist, after coming after albums where they had some really really good almost ballads, you get Resist at track 9 and it's not that good, a little too little, a little too late. So Test for Echo, 1996. This is there are 3 albums that you could pretty successfully describe as the granddaddies of the kings of disappointing records. And I already said one. Ooh, yeah. This is another contender for that. And I'm going to get some grief for this too because there are a couple of people that I know that think this is a really good album. But Behavior by Saga, um, after Worlds Apart and Heads or Tails. Oh my God, Heads or Tails. Heads or Tails is so good. This album, it's not very melodic. It doesn't, the songs aren't very memorable. It starts with Listen to Your Heart, Take a Chance, Out of the Shadows. I know a lot of people like that. Goodbye Once Upon a Time. I don't like these songs. They're not memorable. They're not, the 2 albums before it had that Rupert Hine production, and love it or don't love it, it was something that really made you kind of take notice. Very bright and very keyboard heavy, and that may not be your thing, but this is really just kind of thuddy. I think, who produced this record? I want to say Peter Walsh. Is that right? Do I have the right name? I should have looked that up. Anyway, no. The only thing that I love about this album is that the song "What Do I Know," the single with the Simmons drums and the fantastic guitar solo, which I think is one of the most memorable song titles of all time, or guitar solos of all time. That's a real standout. What Do I Know on this record, but otherwise disappointing to me. Let me make sure I didn't forget one. Okay, I really hate to give these guys a hard time because I love them so much, and they've been through a lot of hardship with their band and their finances and kind of trying to hold everything together. But Spock's Beard, the Oblivion Particle from 2014. First of all, when you've got a logo as great as Spock's Beard's logo is, why decide not to use it? Um, I don't know why they did that. Um, Not a bad album, not a bad album, but all out of all of the of the Ted Leonard fronted Spock Spirit albums is probably my least favorite. Um, and when it came out, I was very disappointed in it. I like the song "Disappear." I like "Bennett Built the Time Machine" very much, sung by Jimmy Keegan, who I thought should have sang more songs by theirs. But you know, I I'm not a big fan of the writing of John Bolgeholt. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Bolgeholt, I think that's right. I'm not a big fan of his songwriting, so that kind of leaves me out of a lot of Spock Spirit releases from later days. And then this one, the third king of. Again, I almost did not put this one on here because everybody beats up on it, but man, Heaven and Earth by Yes. Look at that beautiful album cover. It's beautiful. Uh, You would think that this would be, at the very least, a halfway decent record. It should be produced by Roy Thomas Baker. I'm looking for one particular picture in here. There's one photograph that's really funny. Um, I should have put a bookmark in that page. Um, it may only be on the. I thought it was in the booklet. Let me see. Oh, here it is. Steve Howe is on that bottom picture trying to escape the sessions. He's got one hand on the door. Why would they put that picture in there? I don't know what he's actually doing, but it makes it look like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. Um, I'm not going to go on and on about what I don't like about this album. Anemic sounding. It sounds like they don't have any energy. It sounds like that between Billy Sherwood finished this record. Uh, Roy Thomas Baker started it, and you would think between the two of them that they would figure out a way to just kind of beef it up so it doesn't sound so lifeless. But it really does sound lifeless. Subway Walls, the last song written by Jeff Downes, is pretty good, but it can't save it. And we'll never know what happened, what the real story of this album may have passed along with Roy Thomas Baker. I remember when he left the project, he put on Twitter a message that said, "My best wish," something, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, "My best wishes to the Yes guys. They're great guys. I love them." And what do you really think? Because he left. He left these sessions. He did agree to put his name on it. And so there it is right there. He put his name on it, mixed by Billy Sherwood. And really sorry that I don't think they ever recovered. I mean, there's a whole other show in here where we can talk about having a guy with a high voice wear one of those hippie shirts with the ties right here does not make you Yes. And I really do think that as halfway decent as some of those more current Yes songs are, they don't have the energy. You don't think of John Anderson as being somebody that's got like rock and roll fire or passion or even swagger, but he kind of does. He has that thing going where when a song gets heavier, his voice kind of cracks and he kind of gets into this rock and roll. John Davison doesn't have that. He's just got a really sweet voice, and I'm not convinced that Steve Howe can actually knows what makes a Yes song a Yes song. Those are harsh words, I know, but maybe we'll make a video about that. There have been some really good ones about that topic, and I would like to put my 2 cents in one of these days. But there you have it. Thanks for watching this. I know it's been a long time since I've done anything, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I've got a couple of ideas where I'm gonna have some guests. I'm gonna have a panel show. So I appreciate everybody watching, and I'll see you next time.